Hey everybody, just checking that you can hear me. Hey everybody, just checking that you can hear me. I think it's okay. All right, so welcome. All right, nice to have you guys here. So this is kind of a redo from my last session. And I will just pull this up for a little bit. So welcome, my name is Janine. I am the creator of Learn the Sky here on YouTube. And I tried to do a live stream last week and it didn't go as planned, but it was nice to connect with a bunch of people online, but I didn't get to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. So I thought I would do a reschedule. And it's just funny because I've taught online before on many different platforms, but every time you try a new platform, it's like, there's bound to be issues. So, but I'm really happy that you're here spending your Saturday with me. And what our purpose is today is we are going to focus on taking a look at the spring sky, what kinds of constellations you can be looking for over the next 3 months, as well as what are some of the celestial events that will be occurring. So we're going to address that. And hopefully, if we get through everything, there'll be time for Q&A. I'm aiming to go about 45 minutes today for this live stream. So hopefully more people will hop in. If you'd like, you can say hello in the chat box. I've got the chat box rolling. And it's nice to see all you guys today. So and I appreciate your patience with my do-overs since, we fail forwards, right? That's the way I look at it. I was like, not surprised things went wrong. But I've got some new software and I'm excited to try it out. So I'm going to switch it up. Here is my screen for today. And all right. Give me just a moment. So I'll be simultaneously watching your questions, okay? And as I'm going through and teaching my presentation as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, our purpose for today is to talk about what is in the spring sky. Okay, and I'm going to make my screen, I'm not going to have my camera up for this because I want the screen as large as possible so you can see what it is that I have on the screen. So one of the things I always do is I'm always trying to just give as many examples as possible for what you're going to see in the sky. So first I want to talk about celestial events. I can actually have my camera up for this. But yeah, I would love to live stream more. I have to be cautious with my time. So I've got so many things that I'm rolling out, a lot of new things I'm trying this year, like classes, and I'm reorganizing my Patreon account. So there's lots of things I've got going on. But I find this really fun to do, and I love teaching live. So to get started with what different types of celestial events will be happening, I always encourage everybody, whenever you are stargazing, try to aim to do it during the new moon. So the new moons for the next 3 months are April 11th, and then May 11th, and then June 10th. So these are great times to go out and go stargazing because the light from the moon is absent. And this isn't the only day you can do it. You can actually end up doing it like a few days before the new moon and then a few days after, because the light from the moon is it's either very dim or it is not present. So these are great times to go out. So, I kind of have a calendar on my phone that tells me when the new moons are going to be. But honestly, I'm outside every day, just whether it's in the morning. I kind of have a long commute to work. So I get up super early in the morning, and I usually see the stars in the morning and take a look at the moon before the sun even rises. So But yeah, those are the new moons. For April, the major events that's going on are the Lyrid meteor showers. And it peaks during from the 17th to the 19th. So that's nice because the moon isn't super bright. Oh, there we go. That's better. The moon isn't extremely bright. It's in a waxing crescent phase. So these are the really great times to be able to see the meteor showers as well. So I'll be posting things. I usually do it on the community board as well, just to kind of as a reminder to go out. But you may see some meteors during this time. So keep that date on your calendar. And then the next thing that's happening in May 26th, there's a total lunar eclipse. And not everybody's going to be able to see this. Hello, welcome if you're just coming in. If you're just, there's only certain parts that are going to be able to see the lunar eclipse. So there's western parts of North and South America, the Pacific Ocean, Australia, Eastern Asia will be able to see this total lunar eclipse. And then there is, remember, just to remind you what an eclipse is, it's when the moon passes through the Earth's shadow, and then it has usually like kind of a deep orange reddish glow to it during this time as it's passing through Earth's shadow. And then we also, not too far after that date, is an annular eclipse. And this is not something that's going to be able to be visible from all parts of the world. From some parts of Canada and Russia, kind of those northern upper latitudes, there's an annular eclipse. So an annular eclipse is when it's like a solar eclipse, okay? But since the moon, the size of the moon and the size of the sun aren't exactly the same, the moon is a little bit more distant. So it doesn't completely cover the sun. So the effect you end up having is called an annular eclipse. And this is sometimes called a ring eclipse as well. From what parts of Canada? I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to kind of look that up. There's a few different websites. I can kind of link those websites in the information on this channel as we go. The description. I put a bunch of links in the description as well for this video. I wanted to share that with you guys because I'm going to be talking about a lot of different constellations that I've already done videos for. So I really want to just bring your attention to those videos as well. So those are listed in the description of this video, so you can check that as well. So I will pull up a website and see if I can find out which parts of Pennsylvania. But moving forward, I'll kind of maybe save that towards the end of class for Q&A. But a solar eclipse is when the moon passes in front of the sun and therefore blocking out light from the sun. And they're not as easy to see and observe because they only happen. You can see the shadow only falls on certain parts right there. It only falls on certain parts of the Earth. So these are definitely more difficult. Hello from Sweden. That's awesome. I love hearing where you guys are from. So that is really, really awesome. One of the reasons I did this channel is just to connect with others. I love learning about the mythologies from other places of the world. I've had, some exposure to different ancient mythologies, but there's a lot to learn. So can I see the star constellation Leo in the southwestern hemisphere? Southwestern hemisphere. I want to think on that one. I do think it's a possibility, but I'm more familiar with what you can see in the northern hemisphere. And I try to always be upfront about that because the only other places I lived in my lifetime have been in the northern hemisphere. I have observed in the southern hemisphere, but I haven't lived there. I've only visited. And when I was visiting, I was taking a college class and not studying the stars at that time. So let's keep going. So also June 20th is summer solstice this year. That's the longest day of the year. So, and then from that, after that date, the days will start to slowly get shorter over time. So, all right. So I'm excited to get started on this part of the the live stream. So here I'm just going to kind of be walking you through those different types of constellations I want you to try to find. And these are going to be the main ones that will be lasting for the next, 3-4 months. And how long you can see these constellations really depends upon your latitude. When I was living in Hawaii, I was at about 19 degrees latitude, and I saw constellations for a long time, way longer than 3 months. Some of them, you could see them like up to 6 months. So, but it's different when you're closer to the equator. So I'm actually going to make my screen full here at this point. So, and I'm going to start walking you through different star patterns. Hello from India. That's awesome. Hello, hello. So our first one, this is one you can definitely see tonight. This is Cancer. I have recently done 2 videos on this one. I kind of update, and that's what I've been updating videos lately, because sometimes I just ID things wrong and I want to make a correction, and YouTube doesn't let you make a correction, but I'll try. But Cancer is is a zodiacal constellation. So if you look here, this blue line, that's the ecliptic, that's the path of the sun. So since the sun, moon, and planets all pass through it, it's classified as a zodiacal constellation, but it's really faint. And you can tell that. I wish this little cursor thing would go away. There it goes. So it keeps popping up, but you can see on the magnitude scale down here that the stars of Cancer are pretty faint. But this right here, this little beehive cluster, it's called, is a great way to find it. But you definitely need dark skies to see Cancer. It's not an easy one to see. So here is a picture of Cancer, and then that's what its star pattern is. And what stands out to me is this star cluster. That's how I was able to figure out, oh, that's Cancer. That's what I'm looking at. It just looks like a dark part of the sky because the stars are really faint. You can find Cancer. It's close by to Gemini and Canis Minor. Okay, there's about 4 constellations in this photo. This is one of my favorite photos I have found because the star patterns stand out really well. And if we were to point things out, that's where Gemini is. And those 2 bright stars there are Castor and Pollux. So Castor and Pollux. And then the other ones we have, I think I've got the names. Oh, I don't have the names this time. This is Canis Minor right here. And here's Cancer. So it takes up some good real estate in the sky, but the stars are very faint. But you can see that little cluster right there. And Cancer represents a crab. This over here is a Riga and Gemini and Canis Minor. We've got Monoceros, the unicorn, down there as well. But these things are getting fainter as time goes. So next is Leo. Leo is also a zodiacal constellation. And to me, this is the one that stands out in the night sky. Hello from England. I just saw that comment. I appreciate it. Oh, New York City. Hello. I'm not very far away from you, NYC. I miss visiting you. I've missed visiting New York. I was working there last, when I moved back from Hawaii, I was doing some telecommunications work, and I was in all 5 boroughs. It was lots of fun. But anyway, I digress. That happens. So anyway, we have Leo. And Leo, to me, is the one that really stands out in the spring sky. It's like that defining constellation of the spring sky. And you can see its pattern here is pretty distinctive. This is the official star pattern. The official star patterns right here, it says IAU, which stands for International Astronomical Union. And these maps were put together by Sky and Telescope magazine and the IAU. And the IAU is what came up with the official star patterns that astronomers use. Now, if you're not an astronomer, I was always confused as a person who is trying to figure out what I'm looking at in the sky, that the star patterns, depending on the book you look at, they all look different. But I've grown up with a few different patterns for Leo. This one is not quite what I see. I kind of see a backwards question mark and a triangle back. But I'll give you some different variations. So that's the official star pattern of Leo. And you can see how it somewhat resembles a lion. You have kind of the snout, this would be the mane, the body, the back hindquarters, and then the legs. So this is another version. This is kind of what I see. You can kind of, it almost has like that Sphinx looking shape to it right there. Okay, and there's the back hindquarters as well. So yeah, oh, I've missed something there. So there, this is an asterism, and that's known as the sickle. So this shape will stand out in the sky sometimes more than the rest of the constellation. And that is that's what I see. So we the sickle, I will go over different asterisms a little bit later, but the sickle is one that's really pretty easy to point out. So you kind of have Cancer in this direction, you have Leo here, and then Virgo is what comes next. But next, before we talk about Virgo, I'm going to talk about Botes. And Botes is represented as a herdsman, and it's really, really easy to find because you can use the Big Dipper to find it. So here is the handle of the Big Dipper, and there's a saying, or kind of a little mnemonic, you arc to Arcturus, which is that name of that star right here. And to me, Botes kind of looks like a kite. Also kind of looks like a bacteriophage, if you know what one of those looks like. That's what I tell my bio students. But here is what the pattern looks like in the sky, and it's large. It's very large in the sky, but that star stands out. There's also another little constellation right here, which we'll get to in a minute. But here is an example of how you can, here's the Big Dipper, and you arc to Arcturus. So Arcturus is a bright orange star. Yes, I love Arcturus too. It's also, in Hawaiian culture, it's called Hokulea, and there's lots of reasons. It's a very important star in the Polynesian culture because they helped. It helps them navigate across the Pacific Ocean. But here is Botes again. There's that bright star down here, Arcturus. And then right next to it is Corona Borealis. And I don't have a video out on this one on my channel, but that'll be coming soon in May. And I love this constellation. It looks like a smile in the sky, and it's super easy to find. It's much smaller than Botes. You can kind of see the comparison here. But remember, arc to Arcturus. And the other part of that is speed to Spica, because Spica is a very bright star in the constellation of Virgo. And when you get to Virgo, Spica is about the only star you can really see unless you're living in really dark skies. So, and Virgo is a very large constellation. To get some more practice, I don't know if you guys can see Botes here and Corona Borealis. Yes, okay, so here is Botes right there. It's kind of got his little legs. And then here is Corona Borealis. This is, to me, kind of a doctored photo. They enhance these stars, but it is a challenge. If the greatest challenge I have is finding good constellation pictures where the stars stand out, that is my constant challenge. But that's the patterns right there. But that's what I do. You always find different pictures and then see if you can find those constellation pictures in them. So, okay, so here we've got Virgo. And as you're looking at Virgo right here, this is its star pattern, and it takes up a lot of real estate in the sky. And the ecliptic goes through it. So it tells us it's a zodiacal constellation. And right here is where Spica is. So you arc to Arcturus right there, and you speed to Spica. Spica is like a bluish star, and you can see down here that it's bright because it has a low magnitude number. And Arcturus is brighter than Spica, according to this map, but you can use one to find the other. And Virgo is really, if you look in all these little red dots right here, those are all galaxies that are here. And there's galaxies all throughout here. And that's what's really nice about the springtime for people who love to take photos of the sky, is like the Earth is oriented away from the center of the Milky Way galaxy. So we're able to see distant galaxies. For a beginner, I'm seeing a question here. I'm going to pop on screen really quick. Just so you guys know I'm here. For a beginner, is there a starting point, i.e. Polaris, and you can work your way around from there? Yeah, actually, I would say Polaris isn't necessarily the most helpful star to find everything, but I do think it is, because you can find North. And once you can find North, you can kind of figure out where everything else is. But I think Ursa Major and the Big Dipper inside of it is what can point you to everything throughout the season. So I could probably bring up that presentation to explain that after I go through this. But yeah, you can definitely use Ursa Major to kind of direct you towards everything as well. But that's a good question, and I'm going to keep an eye on that. So, and actually, I'm like, as that question is happening, I'm pulling up another tab, and I'm going to pull up my presentation just so I can show that. So, but Virgo, if we keep going here, Virgo is a different one is difficult to point out because it's really faint. It's really faint. And I don't ever really feel confident that I'm finding the pattern. I can find Spica though. So I know I'm like, oh, there's the general direction of where Virgo is. So, I'm just pulling up my Ursa Major presentation because I want to show you how Ursa Major really is the key to figuring where everything is in the sky. Because you can see, if you're living in the Northern Hemisphere, you can see Ursa Major throughout the year. All right, so why isn't this coming up? Because I'm in the wrong account. Ursa Major. Whenever I'm working on the computer, you always end up with like too many tabs open. All right, almost there. All right, so I want to show you that in a moment once that loads. So, all right, getting back to here. Thanks for your patience. No worries. Welcome to the party. This is this is so nice that this is working. I think the software I had last time just was not cutting it. And it's just funny because it's like, no matter how much experience you have teaching online, when you try something new, it's going to mess up. So I think I kind of laugh at the fact that last week didn't work out, but at least I've fixed the problem. And now this can become a regular thing. I'd love to do kind of like a live stream, like a big one, every season to kind of go over what we're seeing for the season. And as I add to my collection of pictures. So, but yeah, and actually I want to switch my screen just to answer that question because it's such a good one. And Bill, I want to mention it on my website. I have a free lesson on Ursa Major that goes over all this in like more detail than, it goes over lots of details. So you can always check that out as well. So what I'm going to do here is stop sharing, or no, share. Stop screen. Nope. All right, so you should be able to see my screen at this point. Let's flip it so you can see the whole thing. And I want to get to my slide and show you exactly how you can use Ursa Major to point to everything. Okay, and let's present. All right, so this is the best place to start out as a beginner, right there. And the reason for that is because you can use this really familiar pattern, and it's a big pattern in the sky. You can use it to point you towards everything. So right now you can use Ursa Major to kind of point you down towards Leo. And then you can use it to Arcturus, and you can speed to Spica. So you can use Ursa Major right now to find Leo, Botes, and Spica. I haven't used it much to find Hercules, but you can. Hercules is another one I'll go over today. It's a very large constellation and not always the easiest to point out. But this is why Ursa Major to me is one of the most important constellations. Or this is actually, the Big Dipper is called an asterism. It's not a true constellation, but, and just to kind of give you an idea, that's what Ursa Major looks like. But here, the Big Dipper is within there. So I really think it's important to know this one. And I've got some videos coming up on Ursa Major. I'm kind of doing this new series I've been working on, these versus videos, and I want to go over some really cool concepts on like Alcor and Mizar, how it's a double star. And if you can see 2 stars here, it's kind of a test to your vision. So, but yeah, wow. You wouldn't be willing to put that slide on your website, would you? Actually, if you, I feel like I do go over it in my Ursa Major lesson, and that one's a free lesson. So, but yeah, you can screenshot it too as I have it up. That's the other way you can save that. There, but yeah, that's I find the best constellations. I find best to see the constellations. Use binocular, help of a phone app, and printouts. Yes, so a word on phone apps. I don't really use them much because I'm trying to escape digital technology when I go outside. So, and it's really like I've got my phone right here, and I really find it difficult for it to translate the whole sky on a tiny little screen. So I'm not a big phone app person, but to each their own. I think, no matter what, you should do what works for you. I like using a planisphere that goes out with me. And what else? Binoculars. I'm definitely more of a binoculars person. So I'm actually going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to bounce back to my spring sky. All right, here we go. So, we were talking about Virgo, and Virgo is a challenging constellation to see. The only one I really see, I would say, is Spica. Spica, that bright blue star. You arc to Arcturus and you speed to Spica. I'm going to just put the screen back up so you can see the full size of the pictures. All right, that's what Virgo looks like. That's one of the patterns, but Virgo is one of those patterns that all the resources I feel like vary what this pattern looks like. So I've seen a variety of patterns for this, but I just went with the official star map pattern that astronomers use from the International Astronomical Union. But there's Virgo. This is another one called Corvus, the crow. I don't have a video on it, but it's coming. Corona Borealis, this is one I just love. It's sometimes called the Northern Crown. And that's what it represents. And it's a seasonal constellation. It's sandwiched in between Botez and Hercules right here. And it's pretty easy to find. So if we get a picture, there's Arcturus and Botez, and that's where Corona Borealis is in orientation to Botez. I don't know. Looking at this is a gorgeous picture. Can you see that shape of Corona Borealis? Yes, that's a great comment. Effie mentioned light from the stars takes millions of years to reach Earth. So yeah, things that we're looking at probably look different than they are right now, because it takes light such a long time to reach us because there's huge distances. So that's a great point. But here is where Corona Borealis is. This is one of my favorite constellation pictures. It's just so gorgeous, and you can see all these background stars. This is like one of those, do you ever see those like memes out there, like expectations versus reality? This is one of those expectations. This is what I expect to see in the night sky, but reality is a little different. This is that's not quite reality. There's still a lot of stars in that photo, but hey, we can dream. And actually, when I was living in Hawaii, the skies did look like this. There was so many stars, I couldn't even find anything because it was a lot. All right, so here's Hercules. Hercules is represented as a Greek hero, and it's a seasonal constellation, and it's sandwiched between Corona Borealis and Lyra. Lyra is so easy to point out. It has that bright star Vega, and Vega's close to us, only 26 light years away. So look at all this real estate in the sky it takes up. Hercules is really large. And for me, the technique I used is I kind of see a letter H right there in the sky. I see an H. Other astronomers see, this is called the keystone asterism. I see an H in the sky. That's, you know, we're all going to see different patterns. Hello from Ontario. That's awesome. So here is just gives you an idea. I don't know if you can point out Hercules, but I see the H right there. H for Hercules right there. So there's Corona Borealis here. And I'll point this out with lines. And then here is Lyra with Vega. So it's Hercules is a huge constellation sandwiched between two smaller constellations. So that's the pattern Hercules makes in the sky. These are his legs. He's kind of upside down in this orientation. Here's his head, and here's his arms. There's Corona Borealis. This is Lyra. That's the head of Draco, and this is Ophiuchus. Oops, sorry about that. Ophiuchus right there. All right. So are you able, there's two constellations in here. Are you able to see Corona Borealis and the H from Hercules? Again, this isn't one of those like expectation pictures. Like, I don't think the sky always looks like this depending on where you live. You have to live in a dark sky. But there's Corona Borealis and there's Hercules. There's his head. So it's not the entire constellation because he is very big, but it is part of it. All right, let's keep going. I already showed you that. Canis Venatici, this is another kind of a minor constellation. It only has 2 stars in its star pattern, but it's so easy to find because it's parallel with the last 2 stars in the Big Dipper. So it's so easy to find. So if you look, here's the Big Dipper, find the 2 little stars that are parallel with the last 2 stars. And that's how you can find Canis Venatici. I don't have a video on this one, but it'll be coming. And that's how you can find Canis Venatici. And it's represented as 2 hunting dogs, the Herdsman's hunting dogs, I believe. And then Coma Berenices is right here. Its stars are really faint, but what I want you to notice out of all of this are all these little red dots. These are all galaxies. So Coma Berenices is known. It's represented as Berenice's hair from Greek mythology. Actually, no, this was an actual person. Like not just a historical figure. She, you know, not just like a god, like for example, Virgo represents so many different deities in different cultures. You know, this one I believe was named after a historical figure. But if you wanted to find it, here is the Big Dipper, Canis Venatici, and then here's Coma Berenices. And there's like the Coma cluster. It's a cluster of stars. That's how I can find this constellation. And then here I love this shot because you can arc to Arcturus. There's Botez, and then speed to Spica, you would go down, but you can't see Spica. And then here's Corona Borealis. All right, I'm just looking at our time here. So there's Leo Minor. Leo Minor is a minor constellation. It's like, I don't know if I've ever really truly pointed out this pattern in the sky. It's super faint if you look at the magnitude scale down here. So it sits in between Ursa Major and Leo, which are 2 really easy ones to point out. So I challenge you to try to find Leo Minor. Here is Leo. I can find that one. But Leo Minor is in this region. I need help with pointing out the pattern, and that's where it is. So I encourage you to try to find that one. All right, spring asterisms. So I wanted to go over different patterns. Remember, asterisms, I have a whole video on this, so I should probably put that one in the information below, which I will do. But spring asterisms aren't true constellations, but patterns within patterns, or sometimes they're connections between bright stars. So what you're telling me is Hercules is a summer constellation. I would say spring into summer. You can definitely see Hercules into summer. I can see him out now when I go outside, but it's usually later in the evening I'm going out. That's the constant challenge. I have to go to bed early. So a lot of my stargazing is actually in the morning when I wake up, not before I go to bed. But so I'm going to hide the camera again so you can focus on the big picture. So the spring triangle is one you can look for. The spring triangle is a connection between Arcturus, Spica, and Regulus, or Regulus. I've heard this pronounced many different ways. I flip back and forth between the two. But the spring triangle is an asterism that connects those constellations. Also, there's the spring diamond, which connects the bright star in Canis Venatici with these other stars. So Arcturus, Spica, Denebula, which is the tail of the lion, and then Car Caroli. So if we wanted to point some constellations out here, there's a lot to see. You have Ursa Major right there. So you arc to Arcturus, you speed to Spica. That's what I see. And if we were to point out everything, let's go over it all. So we have Ursa Major. You can use the pointer stars to point to Polaris, and that's Ursa Minor. And then you arc to Arcturus. You speed to Spica. Here's Virgo. Here's Leo. Coma Berenices. Leo Minor's in here. I didn't even point it out because it's hard to see. And then Canis Venatici. So Cassiopeia is not in this. Cassiopeia would be passed up in this direction away, like Ursa Major, or if you have Ursa Minor, the Little Dipper, it's like Ursa Major's on one side and Cassiopeia is on the other. So you can use both Ursa Major and Cassiopeia to find the North Star. And that's where the North Star is in this photo. All right. Oh, what did I do there? I missed that. Oh, there's the spring diamond right there. There's the spring diamond. So what we can do, what I like to do is like, can I see the spring diamond? Yeah, there it is. There's the spring diamond. There's the spring triangle. All right. So the sickle is one I've mentioned already. This one's in Leo the Lion. It's located right there. And if we were to point out the pattern of Leo, that's what it looks like. Is there a way to move this? It's kind of getting in the way. All right, the next is the kite. Sometimes Botez as an asterism, they call the kite, which really just looks like most of its pattern. And then Corona Borealis is also known as the northern crown. So the keystone is another asterism that's in Hercules. So you can try to find that pattern in the sky as well. So if you were to find Hercules, this is the keystone known within there. And I need a little bit more background to do a little more research on why that's called the keystone. Welcome if you're just coming in. Yes, thank you. Coma Berenices is named in honor of Berenice II of Egypt. Yes, thank you. I have to admit, I am really challenged by the mythologies of the constellations because I have a science degree. I've got some dogs outside. Not my dogs, neighbor dogs. But yes, let's see. Let's keep going. I may have to close the window if you can hear those dogs. This is the beauty of live streaming, right? All right, so oh, he's not done. All right, I'm going to put the next slide up. I'm going to mute for a bit. Oh, here's the butterfly. Let's see if you can find what's in the next one. There's the northern crown. This is my favorite photo. There's the northern crown again. And that's in Corona Borealis. And then the Southern Cross, I haven't talked much about the Southern Cross. I can't see it where I'm living now, but when I was living in Hawaii, you could see the Southern Cross. And I was actually shocked at how long it actually took me to figure out what the Southern Cross was, because it gives you, it directs you to the closest star to our own star. So here's the Southern Cross, and it points you to Alpha Centauri, which is right there. And then this is Beta Centauri in the constellation Centaurus, but Alpha Centauri is one of the closest stars, and there's like a group of 3 right there that are together. Proxima to Centauri is a smaller star within this system that's actually slightly closer than Alpha Centauri. So that is the Southern Cross. And if we were to point that out right there, and All right. So now, let's see. I wanted to go for about 45 minutes. Hopefully we can keep going. I wanted to kind of get through some practice slides because this is really truly how you start to figure out where everything is. Okay. Do you think we might see TC? I'm not sure what that means. They should name a constellation after you. No, I'm not. You have to be like a Greek mythological hero for that to happen. Yeah. So, all right. So I'm going to switch my screen here. Just give me a moment. All right. So just switching up my slide here. All right. So are you guys able to see what this one is? Can you identify this star pattern? This one is Leo. So Leo is right here. Okay. Yep. There you go. That's the sickle. That's that star pattern right there. So definitely look for Leo tonight. All right. How about this one? This is definitely a gorgeous one. Here's that shape right there. Are they still naming the constellations? That's a good question. I don't believe so. And a lot of the star patterns, there's like half of the constellations that are ancient, and then the other half are considered modern, which means they were only created in the past 300-400 years. A lot of the southern constellations are considered modern, but that's in Western astronomy. And the patterns of the stars are kind of more like borders of countries. And if I go backwards a little bit here, I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So, oh God, I'm really back there. I'll get there. There. So right here, this is a star map, and the star patterns are like the ancient connections we make to them that have, they might have been something else in the past. The constellation names have changed over the ages. But when we talk about, when astronomers talk about constellations, they're talking about what's in this border. And all these stars have a particular name and designation. And that's how astronomers all stay on the same page. And you can also see that each point has a specific spot in the sky. You have declination and right ascension, and that's what these lines stand for as well. So is the reoccurring nova to outburst again? No, I'm not sure. I actually am not familiar with that system, but I think I have some homework to do to learn a little bit more about it. And that's what I love about this subject, right? Is that there's always so much to learn. And I love learning that with other people too. It's really awesome. So, all right. So, oh yeah, the stuck ship in the Suez Canal. I was just reading about that this morning, how the memes on that are wonderful on that boat that is stuck there. So hopefully, yeah, maybe the moon tides will help out with that. We are approaching the full moon, aren't we? So, all right. So did we learn this one? This one is Cancer right here. Not great. I actually don't have the star patterns shown here. Maybe I have it at the end. But yeah, right here is the Beehive cluster. That's how I know that that is Cancer. All right, looking at this one is a little bit more challenging. This is more of like one of those reality pictures. Like this is kind of more like what the sky looks like. But yes, this is the lion, the sickle. You can't see the whole lion, but then here, this is the Beehive cluster, and then this is Cancer right there. All right, so here, all right, there's a bunch of bunch of constellations in this one. Lyra is the one I see automatically to the left and has Vega. I didn't go over Lyra. I kind of consider more that a summer constellation. But if we were to point out Corona Borealis right there and Lyra right here, and then Hercules is all in this area. I kind of find the H of Hercules. That's what works for me. And then there's the keystone asterism in there too. All right, this is probably the most important constellation to know. This one's Ursa Major, and it has the Big Dipper, which can point you towards everything in the sky. Like this, you arc to Arcturus using the handle of the Big Dipper. Here again, you arc to Arcturus. I'm going through these really fast. I just want to be conscious of my time and other people's time as well. So if you have any questions, Q&A, now's a great time. We can go over that. I am going to be ending this live stream in a few minutes. But here you can arc to Arcturus, and then you would speed to Spica. So as you guys are learning this, I hope this is helpful just to kind of give you an idea of what you can keep your eyes on in the next few months until the summer sky comes around. All right. And did we do this one? This one, we didn't. This is Botes right here, right there. Arc to Arcturus. Arcturus is right there. You can tell because it's like an orangish yellow star. I believe Arcturus is like the 4th brightest star in the night sky. So here is Corona Borealis. So if you had a clear sky tonight and you wanted to take a picture of the region of the sky, I would do it. Tonight's probably not a great night to take because we're approaching the full moon. So the full moon starts to rise, 8, 9. I'd probably check if I would do anything, it would probably be in the early morning. And that's when the summer triangle is out. That's probably when I would try to take. Just the moon is going to be bright. So it's not a great time to take a picture of the stars. Yes. All right. So this is Botes. I hope that answers your question. Here is Botes. Here is Corona Borealis. And here we have I think is probably one of the most defining ones in the night sky tonight for the spring sky. You should be able to see the sickle, which is that asterism right here. And then the back triangle, that's Leo again. All right, what are we looking at here? I do know this one. This one is Arcturus. This is Spica. Not really great with the pattern of this, but this is where Virgo is. I've seen too many patterns of Virgo to be decided on, to actually point it out in the sky. It's just the only star I ever see in Virgo is Spica. And then Corvus is right here as well. So here's another. Some of these you've seen earlier on. This is, you arc to Arcturus, and then you can see the northern crown. So Botes is right here, kind of on its side. And then Corona Borealis is here as well. And I think is how many more slides? Yep, this is my last couple slides, but so what am we looking at here? At first, sometimes it takes me a little bit to get oriented, but yeah, I see the northern crown in this one. I also see Hercules as well. So Hercules right there. And then Corona Borealis right here. And you can kind of see one leg and another leg. This does have his head right there. I don't know why his head is shaped like a triangle. But there you have it. There's one arm and there's the other. That's like the head of Ophiuchus. When you mentioned Hercules, that's what got me thinking. You spot out the head of Draco. Yes, I don't think the head of Draco is here. It's right there. That's the head of Draco in this photo. So Draco's a challenging one to see. I do have a video on it, so you can always go do Draco Learn the Sky, put that into YouTube and you'll find it. And or check out one of my playlists. But Draco's not always easy to find in the sky. But if you know where the dippers are, you can find Draco. Yes, this is right here. This is Hercules. I want to say the globular cluster is right there. I would want to double check myself. All right. This is Hercules again right there. right there. This time Corona Borealis is on this side. I have to turn my head to see. All right, last one. This one is not a great photo. This is like one of those expectations versus reality memes again, because this is challenging to see. In fact, I probably should hide my camera. Maybe this will take up some of the screen, but the first thing I see is Cassiopeia right there. And you can use that middle star to guide you to Ursa Minor right there. This is so faint. I don't even know if you're seeing points of light on this, but Ursa Major's over here. There's a lot. No, it's right here. There's the Big Dipper, and you can use the pointer stars to point to Polaris. There's more in here, but this is just not, this is not a great photo. I should probably take this one out, but that's where everything is. So you can see, this is, I was talking about Draco. Draco snakes through the sky, and its tail is in between the two dippers. But I look for that shape, that kind of quadrilateral shaped head of Draco. And it's right next to the keystone. The King of Spring. I love that. I might steal that from you. I might be saying that again. Yes, Leo's like the King of Spring. So, well, I think that's all I have for you guys for today. We've gone 50 minutes. That's awesome. This worked out. I'm so happy. That means I can do this more in the future. So just some things I'll point out to you guys. Let me switch the sharing of my screen. All right. Share my screen. And here we go. All right, so hopefully you can see this. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. There you go. And all right, so I just want to point out to you that you guys should check out my website. I have some free stuff that you can check out. I've got a digital stargazing guide. This is kind of, it turned into, I was trying to make a couple page pamphlet. It turned into kind of like a 50-page book, but it's, you can be sure to download that. You only need your email address to do it. I've got some new online classes as well. So I actually am going to be releasing a new free lesson soon. I'm almost done with it, but you can sign up. Get a taste for what my lessons are like. I go into these 3 constellations here in detail. So that's kind of gives you a taste of what my classes would be like. I've got a basic star class as well. So we've got, you know, this goes over all the, it's kind of a self-paced course. We talk about sky motions, all the circumpolar constellations, celestial objects. And then I'm working on my seasonal series this year, which is really exciting. I've got my spring seasonal class right there. So you guys can check that out. And then this is what I've got coming up. I'm going to release the summer and autumn class. I've been working on this for a really long time. So I'm so excited for these to come out. And then the master is just everything. It's all seasons in one. And I've got a lot more coming out in the future. So if you haven't got to get a chance to check that out, I post blogs weekly, which also is what I end up posting on YouTube as well. So I hope you guys get a chance to check it out. So I'm going to wrap up and end class. I've got another class I'm teaching at 1. So I'm really, really happy that you guys were here. I plan to do these at least every changing of the seasons. And then I've got some new stuff coming up. And I'd like to do a Q&A because I get a lot of emails about questions and people send a lot of pictures to me. And I would love to start sharing those pictures that people send to me because it's a great way to test your skills on how well can you find everything. So if you missed most of the stream, no worries. I will end this broadcast and you can rewatch it again on YouTube. If you are watching this from at another time, please make sure, just leave a comment. Let me know how it went. So yeah, this was a chill, totally different from my last one. I was really, just still laugh that I think it is hilarious that it did not work out last week, because I just had a feeling it was. But anyway, I've taught online a long time, and I know things don't always go wrong. So thank you again so much. I appreciate you guys being here. We'll do this again sometime soon. Have a great rest of your day. Click like, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you again soon. Keep looking up, guys.